Call meeting into order.
Ms. Altobelli? Ms. Alvera? Mr. Delgado?
Here.
Ms. Diggs?
Here.
Ms. Fight?
Here.
Ms. LaPierre? Mr. Lerma?
Here.
Ms. Saratelli?
Here.
Mr. Whitley?
Here. Announcement of compliance with the Sunshine Law.
Very fine.
I'd like to take this opportunity to welcome any visitors here. I'm sorry?
Mr. Kern.
Oh, Mr. Kern. You will have an opportunity later on the agenda to address the board if you have any questions or comments. A reading of the minutes. I make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Oh, I second that motion.
Ms. Alvera?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Diggs?
Yes.
Ms. Fight?
Yes.
Mr. Lerma?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Yes. Treasurer's report for November and December 2012.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't bring none of my.
Do you have? Oh yeah, we just need to make a motion too.
Okay. So this is. Okay, I make a motion to pay November and December of 2012.
This is just to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Okay, I make the motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I have
some questions.
No, may I just ask one thing? Are we finished now with the three sums with the restoration? That was done. That's done.
But I realized, I was looking at it, but I realized that we didn't do October's. No, because Mrs. Lerma wasn't here, so it went on. We have 2 months.
Oh, we have.
That's why it's here.
We have, yeah.
The October bill.
Well, we don't have, it was, I'm showing the reading of the minutes, and then I'm saying treasurer's report for November, which is to approve October's bills, and December to approve November's bills. But you have to do them separately. Okay. You have to, before you can proceed, there's a motion on the floor. And so,
I second the motion.
There was one motion on the floor.
She did. It was. She made a motion.
A motion for what?
she made a motion to accept the bills.
You're
So we
supposed
can't
to
ask
ask if there's any discussion before you
We
go
started
into that.
talking.
But no, she
No,
made a motion.
she made a motion. That was
The discussion
it was
comes
after
after
the
the motion.
motion.
You can't have a
Okay.
discussion before a motion is made. The only thing that I interjected was that Mr. Lermo made a motion for November and December. And I just indicated that you have to do them separately. And so
Okay.
second.
Whitley seconded the motion.
Now it's time for discussion.
And so, but you have to
You
read.
can't second, once you second the motion, then the motion is passed and the
No, it's
item
not. We
is
have a vote
closed.
after that. We have a vote after that.
Okay.
So we have to
But
vote
you-
down that motion because it's
But you
improperly made, right? Because it has the 2 months together.
And that's all.
And then we'll
So what you-
restart.
So you need to go back and Mr. Lermo.
All right, let's do that.
Okay, so I make the motion to pay the November bills, 2012.
Actually, the motion was to accept the treasurer's report.
When are we going to have discussions about the treasurer's
Well,
report?
The treasurer advised me.
Yes, the motion was to accept the treasurer's report.
Well, I did make that motion.
Yes, and I second that.
Okay, and now.
But I don't,
But you
I
have
have a couple
discussion.
of questions.
No, but there's a discussion on the treasurer's report, or is it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The treasurer's report.
Okay. So now it's
That's
time
what
for
I'm
discussion.
asking about. I also wanted to know, I thought we were finished with international tobacco, and you were going to get someone, you told us a few months ago, Mrs. Keegan.
We are finished with them.
Oh, okay.
This is a residual bill. And now, there should actually be on your bill list today, a check for Hill City news, because we just wrote them a check, so we're.
Is that what it is, Hill City?
Hill
Okay, I
City
just want to know what to
News.
look
You see that on the
for.
bill
Okay.
list.
That's all.
And, yeah, that was just a residual bill. So
That's all,
we're-
that's right. That's it.
Okay, so should I make a motion to?
I have a question.
Okay.
Who's Granger? I see Granger about 4 or 5 times.
Ranger is a supply house, but we buy maintenance supplies.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Well, there's some other items here I don't understand, but I guess I'm not gonna find explanations.
If you ask,
Okay, Moniker Eppinger, $68.71. Various employees for other amounts of money, and then there is, but that's the next month, $525 each awarded to a bunch of people who I don't know.
those were programs for the fall concert series, if that's
That's what she's talking
if
about.
that's what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We had the fall concert series, and
Oh, these were
remember,
the performers?
these are the performers, and those performances are underwritten by the Union County Cultural and Heritage Grant. So it's paid for, but it comes out of the grant funds. Okay?
So it's just listed there for the, like the grant was already given to us and then we still have to list it.
You have to pay. You have to pay.
We pay them, but if you look at the bill list, you will see what fund it comes from. You will notice that it comes from the grant fund.
Gets confusing.
Ms. Alvaro? Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Diggs?
Yeah.
Ms. Fight?
Yeah.
Ms. Salerno?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whitby?
Yes. Presentation and approval of the bills. Yeah, to you.
Treasurer's report for December.
Oh, I'm sorry. The treasurer's report for
Okay, so
December.
I make the motion to pay the,
No, the treasurer's report for December, the month of
is
December.
it here?
Yes, just, just to accept the bill. I mean, not the bill, the treasurer's report.
Okay, so I make the motion to accept the treasury report for December of 2012. I second it.
Okay. Ms. Alvaro?
Question or discussion?
Any questions?
Here's Miss Eppinger again for $46.95. What's all that stuff?
What usually happens in that situation is that we don't have accounts with particular stores. And so we cannot spend anything in cash that's over $25. It has to come out of, if it's over $25, it can't come out of petty cash. If, because I do not want to talk off the top of my head and get this wrong, because I don't want to get money wrong. Supporting documentation for every bill that was written is over there, and your supporting documentation is attached. So feel free to look at it, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. But every bill that is on that list, I put down the supply request, the purchase order number, I have to sign off for them, and there's an explanation of what the money was spent for. I do not want to chance remembering what it was, but it's all there.
Any other questions?
No. Then I don't understand why the tobacco company is in November and the same amount is again in, almost the same amount is again in December if we started using the service in October.
Everything that there is a check for, the supporting documentation is over there. So that's the only thing that I can say. I don't write a check where I don't provide you documentation, and I cannot remember every individual check. But trust me, everything you need to know is right there in that file. And if you need me to help you look for it after the meeting, I'll be happy to.
Well then when did that service start? Do you know?
Hill City started with the, I don't remember, I don't want to do that off the top of my head. All I know is that for this month, Hill City is actually delivering our papers.
That's the 7th.
Then they deliver for part of November.
Oh, so the International Tobacco was partial in November. October and November.
I believe so.
I assume that's what it is.
Yes, but Hill
That
City
makes sense.
is now our bona fide supplier. of
They're putting it in
papers.
the slot?
They're putting it in the slot.
Working
They're
well?
coming in the building. It's working well. We've had a couple of glitches at the beginning, but it's ironed itself out, and it's so much better than the situation we had before.
Good. I was looking for an answer.
Okay. Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Dix?
Yes.
Ms. LaPierre?
No, she's
I'm
not.
sorry, Ms. White.
Yes.
Mr. Lerma?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whitman?
Yes. Presentation and approval of bills.
I approve to make the motion to approve the bills of November 15th, 2012.
My second. Discussion.
Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Dix?
Yes.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Lerma?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whitman?
Yes.
I make a motion to approve the bills of December 12th, 2012.
I second it.
Oh, Ms. Alvaro. sorry.
That's
Oh, any discussion?
Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Dix?
Yeah.
Ms. White?
Yes.
Mr. Lerma?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli? Yes. Mr. Whitman?
Yes. Reports of standing committees, there were no meetings. Reports of special committees. Okay.
Which has been nominated.
Okay,
It's
nominate.
really nominated.
Well, with the special committee, you were supposed to get bring to us the proposal, formal proposal?
Okay, would you like me to report on that now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay, this is really a special committee. You have to go back for standing committee. But this is a special committee. I called Mr. Netz of Netta Architects. And Netta Architects is the architect who did the exterior renovation. I spoke with Nick Netta and asked him for a formal proposal because if you remember, he sent Sam Awad out to just look at things and do something very general. He indicated that he would be happy to do a formal proposal, but he cannot do it without meeting with the committee so that you can give him his marching orders. Because he says if he just goes over there and stands in the lot and he doesn't have concrete input from you, it will not work. Okay. So I explained to him that the committee had had difficulty meeting because Mr. Delgado works during the day and he will accommodate you with whatever time you need. That was number one. He needs to talk with you to see what you want to have happen, and then he will determine the square footage and give you a cost analysis, a formal cost analysis based on what you're telling him you want. He will then provide you with a diagram of what you've asked for and a formal proposal for you to give to your funders. He said I can't hold him to this, but to get a formal proposal from him is going to be $3,000 to $5,000.
Wow.
Because he's a professional and you're asking him to draw plans for you.
That
and
includes blueprints.
No, that includes a proposal, but a diagram to show what you're asking for. The blueprints come when you actually start doing the work.
Well,
The other thing that I did was I contacted Mr. Marabella, who is the chairperson of the Board of Chosen Freeholders. I did not know exactly who you spoke with, but as the chair, I contacted him and told him that we were working on a formal proposal and what did I need to do what did the board need to do to submit it to them? What is it that you need? And one of the things you definitely need is a formal proposal that's drawn up by an architect. And so I also put a call in to City Hall to see is there any capital money available. I know that I'm not sure if the board, the budget passed, the city budget passed, but I wanted to, if you were going to submit something to the freeholders, if we are able to get something from the city in the way of capital improvements, you want to have that when you submit it.
Who did you speak to there?
CFO, Tony Zangaro. He's the chief financial officer.
And what was the answer?
I haven't gotten a reply. But the first thing that needs to happen is you need to formally engage Meta Architects. And you also have to vote on the expenditure of $3,000 to $5,000 if you want to proceed with the plan. Okay? Any questions for me?
What information is exactly is he looking for?
He's looking for exactly,
Like a vision?
well, he wants you to tell him what you want.
I know.
Do you want an extension to the back of the building? Do you want a one-story extension? Do you want a two-story extension? There's certain things that you absolutely have to adhere to because you're grandfathered in with ADA compliancy because the building was standing, but everything that you do needs to be ADA compliant. So that means we actually have to add a bathroom to the addition so that it is ADA compliant. Since if you do anything to the building, then all bets are off with ADA compliance. So you need to talk with someone who knows building codes and knows how this is done. But it's going to cost us. And that's why I said when I talked to Mr. Wyde in an informal way, I knew we could never use that information to send to a funder. We needed something more complete. So if you really want to proceed with this, I explained to Mr. Netta we were meeting tonight, and really and truly you need to decide as a committee when you want to meet and get him some dates. He stands ready to meet with you.
Fine.
Will you give me his phone number so I can speak with him and then set up a meeting with him?
Absolutely. It's a board, it's a board initiative. And so certainly, as a board, you need to, all the members need to be aware of all communication that any individual board member makes. You need to tell the board tonight exactly what you're going to do. As you've heard me say before, even Mr. Whitney knows it. The board will only act collectively.
All right, then we have to vote on
You
whether
have to
we want
decide
do it,
how
so
you
we
want
have
to
have a vote.
proceed. Okay, and you
Yes.
have, an action item tonight is to vote on whether or not you
Pay
want to
for this,
proceed
pay for this proposal.
with the action or not. I must tell you, as a director, I can't tell you what to do, but I must tell you that it's going to be an uphill battle as far as city funding is concerned, only because we just don't have capital. We have not been approved for capital funds. I'm trying to see if any are available, but I just have to wait to see.
I have a question. So if that proposal, if we pay for that proposal and we have it, does it expire at any time? Like what if codes change by the time we get money? You know, I mean, there's a question of whether or not we have the money to pursue this project.
But the proposal is, and this is what you have to think about as a board, you have to do some projection. Because when a proposal and a cost analysis is done, it is done on the market prices today.
Right.
If you don't get the money, because see, I didn't, Ms. Saratelli, did you get the indication when you spoke with the freeholder that they would fund the entire
No,
thing?
what they said was that they knew where to get the money and they knew who to go for to grants, and that's the discussion I had with them.
Okay.
That was the Elizabeth Freehold.
The Union County.
Which freeholder was it?
What's his name?
Mohammed?
Muhammad, yeah.
Muhammad, yeah.
Is that Jola?
Job.
Jola.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay, see, because
And
I,
Mr. Mirabelli also, because he
Oh, he was
he
there?
also came in on the conversation
okay,
as well.
okay.
But they said that they knew, and the lady that was there, well, she didn't say very much. But, and I also at the, I think it was at the ribbon cutting,
Mhm.
I spoke with Patricia, I never. get
Patricia
her-
Perkins.
Perkins,
Patricia
Augusta
Perkins.
Perkins. I always get that mixed up.
Councilwoman at large.
Yes.
And I told her what I was thinking of, and she said that when we get ready to, you know, really proceed on this or get it together, to come down and to see her and to see what she can do also.
Okay, and the thing is,
I can speak to that.
until we get a formal proposal together, because when you go to see a council person, when you go
Right.
even to the CFO, you want something in hand that says exactly what you're going to do, how much it's going to cost, and how much you're asking them for.
All
Well,
right,
I think
then we
going
have to
back,
vote on that on a formal
I think
proposal.
going back to Veronica's question, would this expire, would this plan? Because if it doesn't, if we could have this proposal, and even if we can't move forward on it this year, if it's
No, you
good
can
for
have it
next
10
year.
But I answered your question, Mr. Delgado.
Right, it
I
isn't
said
the
to
same
you,
amount.
When you do a cost analysis.
It's with market
for
prices of the day.
It's
But the
not-
plan itself, is it
But
still
the
good?
plan
That's what I'm
is
saying.
good. The
What
plan
you
is
want
good.
to do
Yes.
is good, but will they
Okay.
stand by the figures they quoted?
Exactly.
That's what you need to ask
That's
them
always-
before you agree to do it. Because I'm certain that the figures won't remain the same because the market is always.
Well, we could always add it in the,
I would definitely add that.
that clause.
Like if
Wow.
you're, like if the special committee is going to meet,
Mhm.
I would want that to be asked
Yeah,
as,
of course.
as a part of it. Because I wouldn't want to throw away $3,000 to $5,000 if then, you know, the following, whenever it is that the money does come up to actually fund this
Well,
project.
if we're actually funded, say,
If
2 or
we're
3
funded-
years down the line, you have to assume that it's gonna be more.
But we can't assume and then
No, I'm
just
just
throw away
saying,
that money.
it's going to be more.
We did the
It's
same
how it
thing
is.
with.
Oh, that it's gonna be more. Yeah, right. No, I
Yeah.
agree that. I'm
You know
not
what I'm
talking about the
saying.
proposal. I mean, I'm not talking about the amount. The amount may go up and that's fine, then we can decide at that point. But what I mean is
The
to
actual
throw away the
proposal.
$3,000 to $5,000 and then the actual proposal
No.
itself won't be good. If you're saying the building codes probably won't change and it'll probably be okay, then it should be.
You have a good
Just
point.
ask the
No,
question.
No, no, no. What
That's a
has to be
question.
good today has to be good 3 years from now.
When it comes to
You know what I'm
building.
saying? When
Right.
it comes to the,
Yeah,
you know,
just
money.
to ask that question would
Absolutely,
be.
absolutely.
What's the benefit of doing that now if you don't have the money yet?
You have
Well, you
to
need a
ask
formal,
basically because
you
it
need a
takes
formal
time.
proposal before you ask for
Before
Before
funding.
you ask for the money.
Before
So
you
that's,
ask
yeah,
for
so it's a
money.
catch-22, I understand.
You
need a
can't
formal
ask for
proposal.
grants and you can't ask for money unless you give them
I
a
got it.
formal proposal.
The cost of the proposal seems nebulous. There's a big difference between $3,000 to $5,000.
Depends on what you want.
We tell him what we want, and then he'll tell us what.
Then he'll nail it down.
Well,
I
we'll
said,
discuss it.
and he made certain that I was to tell you that this is not carved in granite. That he cannot give you a price without meeting with you and seeing exactly
Well,
what
we will.
was costing out. And so, the range is there, but, you can wait, literally. You're gonna meet with Mr. Netta, I hope, in January. You have your January meeting. Once you meet with him and you tell him what you want, then you have the opportunity to ask for a firm price, because then he knows what you want. You don't have to do an
You mean a
action
firm price for the proposal?
for the proposal. So you don't really have to vote on that tonight. What the board needs to agree
But
on.
I think we should vote on it just to make sure that we.
Well, you're voting on
Something
something
that you don't know the price
that you
of.
don't know the price of.
We
What
just said
all
from
you
$3,000 to
need,
$5,000.
all you really need from your board tonight, when you vote with money, you really do want to be as precise as you can. And as Ms. Fight has indicated, that's a large range, 3,000 to 5,000.
but-
All you need from the board tonight as a special committee is their consent or their agreement with you to proceed to meet with Mr. Netta. And then when you meet with him, when you come to your board meeting next week, next month, hopefully you will be able to say to the board, this proposal is going to cost $3,000, or this proposal is going to cost $3,500. Then they know exactly what they're voting on. 3,000 to 5,000, I agree, is a huge range.
Okay, but I think we still can vote on it tonight.
Well, I really don't have anything to do with that. It's just my recommendation that you might want to wait and vote on what you know you're
Well,
voting on.
I would like to know that we're going to meet with him and that we're not going to be told afterward that we can't do it. I want to be certain that we have the board's approval.
What she's saying is that
Go
the
ahead
board
with it.
can't allocate
You said between
$3,000 to $5,000 without
and that's.
knowing the board.
Well, we could vote on, I think we could agree.
To pursue it.
To pursue and to meet with him to find the actual amount, how much is the proposal gonna cost?
If it's between
And then-
$3,000 and $5,000, we will agree to do it.
No, but January 15th, you'll do that. The next
I think
board
we
meeting,
should-
when
we
we
should-
meet,
yeah, I think
after
we
you
should
meet with the contract, the architect, then we have the numbers to come back to the board to allocate that money. We have the number. We won't have it right then and there, but we have an action plan where we can move forward with the project.
I think we should agree to meet
Like,
with the
meet
guy,
with him,
with,
yes.
with the architect.
Yes.
Agree to meet.
So the board's on
and
board.
find out, right?
The board's on board with pursuing the project.
Yeah.
Meeting needs to be.
And that's what we need to, if we could get, that the board's on board with proceeding with the project, it gives us the authority to still pursue it,
To
right?
meet with him, get the information, and bring it
I
back.
don't even think that's an action item. Just once when the committee meets, then it'll be an action item. I think that's the format is when the committee meets with because there's no action that needs to be done tonight.
So we don't have to agree to meet, we can just, they can just.
You just
meet.
gotta get dates to meet with the architect and then have the meeting and submit
I
that
mean,
to the board.
if the board doesn't want to support it, though, I don't want to meet in vain, so if we could just get a vote on, does the board agree for us to pursue it? Right, I think that's reasonable. So, should I make the motion? Okay. I make a motion that if the board's in consensus, it allows the special committee to pursue the project of expanding the Elmora branch
With Netta.
and meet with the
Netta
architect. And Netta architect.
I second the motion.
Now, if
No,
we,
any
if we
discussion?
deal with Netta, are we obligated to stay with it?
We can't stay with it.
We can or?
It has to go to
We
bidding.
cannot, it has to go out for bid.
He would just do the formal,
He's just doing the formal
He's doing the
proposal for you.
proposal.
right.
And we can do that because it will be under
And
contract.
that whatever we pay him is not carried over to.
No,
that has
and
nothing to do.
for public contracts,
No, we-
as long as you're under 17.5.
When you hire,
But once you go over 17.5, you must take it over.
Have
for bid.
bids.
So
Okay.
he is not guaranteed, it is not guaranteed that he will.
One thing is separate from the other.
Absolutely.
All he's guaranteed is his initial fee
For the
for
proposal.
the proposal.
it's not an initial fee, it is the fee.
It is the
If you have
fee,
an
yeah.
For the
architect
initial
that's gonna-
proposal.
Well, if you're gonna have an architect that's going to meet drawings and you want to build a house, it's the same thing, you know?
After he gives us that, we could go with that and
You
give
can go
it,
with anybody
Yeah.
or anything.
Exactly.
that plan is still ours, because we paid for it.
That's right, that's
Oh,
exactly
okay.
correct.
And we've done a lot of business with Netta, is that correct?
I don't know. The only business I've done with them is the exterior renovation.
Well, that was a
That's a
lot.
lot of business.
But I mean, that's
And the
one
courthouse
project.
is Netta too.
Yes, Mr. Powers. Mr. Powers will be right with you.
Okay.
Okay? Do you want to,
Well, we have to vote.
one more discussion?
No, any more discussion?
Ms. Alvera?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Ms. Dix?
Yeah.
Ms. Fight?
Yes.
Ms. Salerno?
Yes.
Ms. Saratelli?
Yes.
Mr. Whitley?
Yes. Yeah. We'll standing committees. We're, excuse me, we have the board elections coming. Ms. Key prepared a ballot for next year's board members. So we're going to do this vote now.
If you look at the top, the only contested office is the office for president. You see Mr. Whitley and Ms. Fight. The other offices are uncontested, but they are listed. But you definitely must vote for president. Could you fold them, please?
We can start.
Yeah.
No one's gonna speak up.
Yes.
No speeches, okay?
Mr. Whitney says you're one of the, Ms. Alvaro, would you do the tally for me, since Mr. Whitney is one of the people who will do the tally and announce it to the board? I'd like to save the ballots because they become part of the record.
Okay, so just gonna do an announcement. In a 4-3 vote, 4 against 3 vote, Mr. Whitney will remain president.
Thank you.
Would you let the board know I'm going to get, Mr. Powell, should let Mr. Remind the board about the visitor?
Yeah, we have a presentation from Mr. Powers today, the contractor that was, he went out for the security system cameras that we're going, so he's coming. We had questions, some board members wanted to ask questions, and so he's here to present today to them. So he's on his
I
way.
want to ask you a question on Mr. Whitley.
Sure.
What are your goals for 2013?
My goals for 2013?
For the library?
To make sure our library moves forward. That the business of the library moves forward. That's very, it's a vague answer, but you just put me on the spot just now. So, but if you want to get details for that, I can do that later down.
John Powers. John is from Tyco, and he has been working closely with us to try to devise a security system that will serve us well. So we're really looking for your input and questions you have. And Mr. Powers is accompanied by
John Stewart.
John Stewart, and he's going to
Yeah.
two of them.
Actually, I think I'm going to do a pretty informal presentation for you, keep it very brief, but detailed enough so you can see what the effort Dorothy's put out in the last couple of months. We've really looked in detail at, from the low end on up to the high end, the best options for you. Knowing that scalability, growth for a building like this and the other buildings is what's required. So thankfully, your background really helped pull this together for you, because she knows a lot about what she wanted and had at another scenario. So we'll show you that now. I think you guys can hear me from here, right? Okay.
There
we go.
So we already did some introductions. I'm John Powers, that's John Stewart. I've been working directly with Dorothy on coming up with some solutions here from an access control perspective and a video perspective. Again, trying to determine the best, most cost-effective way, but also thinking about the future for growth. So between myself and John, we're going to kind of show you what we've come up with. And very briefly, without boring you to tears with a PowerPoint, Tyco is formerly ADT. So we've been around since 1874. We are in most of the larger Fortune 500 companies. You know, we're from loss prevention to operational and risk management. You can see our ultimate goal is to help better protect your facility, meet your security needs. We do that every day. We're based out of the Edison office. We've got 50 trucks right there available. From a service perspective, it doesn't get better. And because we're state and local government, we're the only security provider that's on the state contract. That's one real advantage for you guys, since the state contract is pre-bid work. So you have access to a state contract that shows camera A with the price, and it's great. It's been done for you already. So we're able to really leverage that for you in this situation. So from libraries to government offices, you know, we're in over 800 federal judicial facilities. So we're really entrenched in the larger facilities from a government perspective. This graphic, and you know what, I should actually hand out for you. We'll do that right now. I took the time to prepare these, so yeah. This one goes to Ms. Key and the rest. This graphic just basically highlights some of the key ingredients to how and what we determine the best solution is. So as Mrs. Key will tell you, when we come in, we're not coming in and saying, okay, look, we see your building and this is what you're going to do. We come in and see what the pain points are for you here. For example, in the branches, if someone said to me, how would you want to protect that with video, I'd have a completely different look at it than someone who works in the building and someone who knows what's important. You know, there's a back entrance that's dark at night, maybe we need to cover that. So these are the things we look at. So, you know, from harassment issues to vandalism to, you know, workplace safety issues, you know, coming in the garage at night, you know, after 5 o'clock in the winter, it's pitch black. You know, things like that. We take into consideration from every aspect. And I think we've done that really well here with Mrs. Key's direction. We obviously met on site many times. We've been working on this for the last few months, from the camera system to the card access system, really drilled into what the needs are here. And again, I stress, we're drilling into the needs of the now, but also not leaving you with a system that's going to be in 3 years, so what do we do now? It's really expandable from a video perspective, from a card access perspective, and they work well together. They integrate perfectly together. The two companies are synonymous. So we took a real close look. We reviewed the facility for specific concerns, as I mentioned. We started providing working proposals and drawings, and then came up with, you know, from there, okay, wait, we don't need this, we do need that. You know, what makes the most sense here? And that happened even from a drawing perspective. I mean, from chicken scratch drawings to what will ultimately be the final plan of cameras and access. That's kind of what we'll do here. So really, at this time, I'm going to have John come up to do just a little bit more technical look for you with some of the details of the card access system and how it integrates to the video. And while John's setting up, one of the things I think that is real important to know, that with the card access, as you use those doors and as we keep the public from certain areas and kind of monitor the employees from going in certain areas, we're able to tie that to events on the recording system now, the camera system, and that's a critical thing to see all that activity from a managerial perspective, from a safety perspective. Even one of the bathrooms is going to have coverage, so that right now anybody can kind of come and go over that little yellow chain if they decided. When this is implemented, it'll be a safer environment for the employees. Even down in the employee, what do we call it? There was a term we called it, the lounge.
Employee
lounge. Just a feeling of safety too. You know, right now the building is fairly open. people know they can't go certain places, but it's, you know, and it's also, one of the things that Ms. Key mentioned, that the bigger difficulty is how to track keys and who's coming and going, who does have copies of keys and so forth. When we move forward with the card access piece of it, that can be managed so carefully and so controlled to the point where you can pull reports to see who's come and gone. You can also, if someone is here today and, you know, God forbid something happened where they were either let go or something happened, instantly from a phone app, which we're going to show you here in a few minutes, you can remove that card from the system. And the system will now, if that person tried to get back in 10 minutes later, it's not gonna let that person in, but it's also gonna send up a red flag for Dorothy to say, hey, wait a minute, not only did we take them out of the system, but now we've seen that they've tried to get back in. So there's so many tools that are built into more than just, oh yeah, now we have a key and we have to do this to get in, but it's tied to video. So if that person did try to swipe in and they weren't supposed to, now, not only are you gonna get a notification in your card access, but on the video platform, you're going to see an event that you don't have to search for. If anybody's familiar with video in any way, the older DVRs, even some of the newer ones, they're not so slick in the way you have to find an event. If something happened on Friday and you didn't know the time, you're literally watching either real time or fast forward, you know, to see what happened. With this, it's going to be event driven. So if someone did something in there that is outside of what you've programmed, it's really going to show that to you, and it's going to have an event. Click on the event, and there'll be the video clip. So that's kind of the lead into John's.
So now that John Powers has stolen my thunder, I think you're pretty good. Do you guys have any questions?
He's done. Right.
So first, I just want to say thank you for coming out and letting us present. And how many people have access control experience at some point? Two. Okay, cool. So if at any point that you are unfamiliar or you want to know how something's done, please throw something at me, preferably soft, but that's cool.
Question.
Question. Yeah, if you have a question, just let me know, and I will try to stop and explain it a little bit better. So really what I want to talk about is CAN-TEC. I think we all understand that access control lets people into doors and it stops people from coming into doors. You know, we all know how to lock a door, we all know how to open a door. So from that aspect, access control is pretty much the same. But where CAN-TEC really shines through is its flexibility. And it really allows you to grow, it allows your system to grow with you. So we have a 2-door model that allows you to control 2 doors, or if you want to control 1 door. The physical limitation on the amount of doors that can be controlled through CAN-TEC, and you may want to write this down if it ever happens, is 3.2 million. So if you guys ever get to 3.3 million, we can talk about expansions, but you have up until 3.2 million doors to control. So there's no limitation. And to the same respect, there's no limitation on the amount of users that you can have. You're allowed as many users as you can put into the system. You're not going to be subjected to limitations like 100 or 1,000 or anything like that. So you really can grow with the system. If you guys start expanding and have remote sites, you can put our panels into the remote site. And actually, if you're looking at it right now, this is our 4-door panel. Just so you guys are aware, we have our different styles of readers. Usually it's plugged in with a few fancy lights, but I opted to neglect that right now. Completely networkable, so that you don't have to worry about wiring it back to the computer. You can just plug this into the network and let the IT guys take care of that. So, along over here. What I really want to show you guys is what you're doing is integrating the video portion to the access control portion. And really what that means is exactly what John said. In our video side, we have what we call video triggers. And really what that means is that any action in your access control system can tell the DVR to record that. So if somebody were to open the door, let's create a new one just to show you. If somebody were to, let's say, have a card and they swipe it on a reader and they're not allowed in that door, the system is going to say access denied. Now the system is then going to tell the DVR, hey, do you mind just recording what just happened? So there's 30 seconds of video of somebody swiping in that shouldn't be swiping in. Let's say they lost a card, or they forgot where they're supposed to be. Who knows the excuses? But if you can look, and I know it's probably an eye chart this far away, every single one of these is an event list. So anything in your system can tell your DVR to record. So that if somebody leaves the building or somebody swipes in the morning, you know exactly who it was. A lot of times it's, hey, here's my card, you can get into this door. Well, that's great. I gave my card to Mrs. Key. Well, Mrs. Key shouldn't be using my card. We now know that that's how that goes. We have the video proof to say, Mrs. Key, you're really not supposed to be in this area. I'm pretty sure you're allowed in every area. Who knows? So we give you that flexibility. So just from this tab alone, you have the ability now to see the video event list. So anything that was happening, I don't even know if we have anything here. You have the ability to see every video event on your system. You can go a little bit further, and instead of now going to the NVR itself, you can go to the access control screen. And really what that allows you to do is create one unified system. So that you're not saying, oh, somebody broke into the door at 12:05. Okay, let me write that down, let me go to the NVR, let me search that video. Okay, well, now I can see that.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
What's the NVR?
Oh, I'm sorry, the network video recorder. I might have been bouncing around between DVR and NVR, my apologies.
What's the difference?
A digital video recorder is an analog camera. So if you equate it to TV, the old tube style TVs, the small ones, the NVR uses megapixel cameras. So that would be like your flat screen 1080p, things like that. So I apologize for bouncing around.
And you know what, not to sidetrack, we'll get right to that, but it's a great and very important point, because when we first started looking at video, we showed several different options, starting with analog, which it's been out there forever, still out there, still being used today. And when you see the quality difference from there to the IP, just like on your phones now, you've got an 8 megapixel camera on the back of your phone. The analog picture is locked to less than a megapixel. It's actually like 740 or 640 by 480. So the resolution on an analog camera, which is what you see on the news all those times. Wait, I just saw a clip on the news of a guy who robbed a bank, but it's the fuzziest, grainiest thing because it's shot with an analog camera. And not only is it shot with an analog camera, but it's shot with a camera that they've even taken the quality further away so they can store more images on their hard drive. We've taken those headaches out of it. So I hate to go off, but it's a great point because there's a huge difference, and that's one of the things we decided to move forward with here.
So I might be jumping ahead, but then that means that all the video footage is stored in, where will it be stored?
Well, it'll be stored locally, but that's an option we can explore too.
On a drive or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
the video recorder would be stored on the NVR.
That's what I thought, that maybe it would be web-based.
Yeah, and those are options that we talked about. You could actually record to the cloud, as they say.
Right.
Right now, it's somewhat cost prohibitive, the storage costs in the cloud. There's definitely advantages to it, for sure. But the advantage of having it locally is it's accessible locally no matter what happens with the internet or power. There's definitive advantages both ways. Larger corporations now are starting to take advantage of the cloud, but again, their resources are endless. I mean, feel free to ask questions at any time because I really do want this to be an open dialogue. So you were back on.
Sure. Yeah, just to point out that you're not only searching video from the NVR or DVR, you can come directly to the Cantech Access Control and search it that way. So you don't have to go to multiple stations or start multiple applications. You have one system that can allow you everything. So if we were to close out of this, just some of the things, you can even create different video views. And what that allows you to do is say, you can now drag and drop different cameras from different recorders and view them at the same time. So if you have your main facility here, but you have remote sites in other buildings, you can take those cameras and view them as they all are.
And that, I'm sorry to interrupt too, and that's what we're going to do here. The branches, we've elected to do 1 or 2 cameras in some of the branches, and that's part of what you'll see in the packet, that are IP-based. They use the network in place here, which is fantastic what's in place. Not everybody has that opportunity to take advantage of a network like that. So we're able to save some money on separate DVRs at those remote locations, put the right kind of camera in to capture the images we're looking for, and use the network. And as you can see, you can basically pull from a tree right into, you know, maybe your camera view, you want to see just the Elmora branch and she wants to see LaCourte. When you sign into the DVR or the NVR, you'll have your view. Dorothy will sign in and she'll have her view. She wants to see everything. And then we could also control who's seeing that. So we could say, you know what, we'd only like you to see 2 cameras. Those are the ones you're concerned with. We don't need you to see everything else. It's really user settable so that Dorothy can control it, Mrs. can control it any way she sees fit.
So just to bring it back a little bit, on the video, I know I'm talking a lot about video, I promise I'll get to access control soon. Because it's somewhat of a unified client, you have the ability now to see all your messages, all your events from your video on your access control. So you can see here, even in our message list, we have camera video restored. That means that I had lost communication to that server, and then once I got internet connection back, I was able to restore the video. So we also have the ability here, what John was saying, let's say somebody swipes in and they're not supposed to, right? They get an access denied message. You can come and search that and you can say, oh, all right, what was the door forced open? I want to know about this. You have the start recording by video trigger. That means that the access control told the video, hey, record this, this is something I want to see. So we can right click and then we can simply view the recording. You can press play and I don't even know if I'm not. We won't get anything, but if I had the network connectivity to that NVR, we would be able to see that exact event. So from your access control screen, again, I can't stress this enough, you have the ability to view your video, view your events, and make sure that everything's happening the way it should. So, like I promised to bring it back to access control, one of the things I wanted to talk about were the users. Now you're going to be giving this out to your employees, to some of your people. Let's see. So we have here the username. We have a card type that allows you to say they're an administrator, they're an employee, and that gives them certain credentials. That can be for certain doors, certain schedules, things like that, or just for your own sake to say that Mrs. Key is the administrator. So actually, and then we have cards 1 through 5. Now a lot of people, has anyone lost their house keys before? Yeah. Stinks. Well, I can guarantee you might lose 1 or 2 keys, 1 or 2 cards. We're going to keep track of that in the system for you. So that card number 5, once you get a 5th card, whoever's giving out those cards might have to say, we're going to have to tie it to your arm because you keep losing it.
And is it easy, like will Ms. Key have a swipe system to program a new card in the office?
Sure. There's a couple ways to do it. There's, actually I'm going to pass these out. These are the cards. Do you want to see it? Okay. So the cards have 7 digits on them, right? That 7-digit number is based off a hexadecimal format. And what that means is it's letters and numbers. So the amount of combinations is somewhere in the billions. Really what that equates to is each card is going to be unique, each card is going to be individual. So if somebody loses that card, you don't have to worry about it. You can delete that out of the system, and then you can enroll a new one. You don't have to worry about duplicates or anything like that. But that number, that 7-digit number gets put into the system, and that's how we register the card to the user. Now we can also take that card and swipe it on the reader, and that will show us the card number, and then we can put them into the system such as that. Does that make sense?
Now, I mean, I know you'll talk about this too.
Stealing all my thunder, dude.
Yeah, I know, and I love this time. One of the things with both applications, the video and the Cantech software, is it's the applications now from your phone, the availability to do things from places other than work is so easy now. So you guys asked the question about how do you make cards? You know, years ago, you had to literally be in-house, make the card, or if you weren't there on a weekend or a snowy day and, you know, an assistant janitor came in who didn't have a key, you were done. You'd have to have a key in the building or you'd be driving in, opening a door. So now, maybe there's a spot where you leave spare keys that are not active in the system, but you could set that up right from your phone. So just a screen like this, it's as simple as pointing, access level, exactly.
By the way, that app is free.
Right. I don't buy apps, so it wouldn't be on here if I. So, but that said, it's that simple, and I think we showed you that where, you know, you enter. Let me show you real quick. You enter users in, and you can assign pictures if you like. To the users. You can do everything, just about everything you can do from the helm.
I'll talk about that.
Right.
Yeah, you have it. So what you're looking at here is what you can give to the user. So we have all the card information. We can give it an expiration date, saying it's a contractor. Hey, you have 30 days to finish whatever it is that you're going to do. At 31 days, oh, you left your tools in the building. Great. Let's talk. So you can lock them out. You can keep information on your employees, you know. And again, these things can change. They don't necessarily have to be favorite color, but you can have card type, license plate, you know, birthday, things like that. So any information you want to keep on them, you can. And again, the access level, this is going to give them where and when they can get into the certain doors. There are other things, again, you can have a start date. So if you have an employee that you want HR to work through everything now, but they're not going to start until the first of the month, that card won't start until the first of the month. So just certain things like that. Again, you can keep pictures, everything like that. Signature if you really need to.
Question.
Sure.
About the app. That is access is only granted to probably like other managers.
Whoever you deem necessary.
So it's like, you know, like if I were an employee wanted to.
Yeah, you could. Okay. Yeah, I mean, every piece of this.
So let me just talk to you about that real quick. The phone app has a few different security measures on it. One would be, you know, if you yourself have a passcode, that's one. When you start the app, there's a gesture or a passcode that says, hey, you're allowed in and out of this. So that's two. And then three is it's based off of username and login. So if you don't have, you could have a login to get into, you know, this system that you're seeing here, but your credentials don't necessarily carry over to the phone. So that would be the third one. So I always joke around that if you have, like, if you give your phone out to your kid or your nephew to like play Angry Birds, and we all know that they're going to mess around, they're not going to open doors that we don't want them to. Or if you leave your phone unattended, you know, the entire school, the entire building is not going to be unlocked.
Gotcha.
So
One of the
we have
questions that
some.
we just talked about in sidebar was training. And one of the things we're going to do, and I'm jumping ahead, but it's a good question. What about training? One of the great things with these systems now, and we had a little more intimate time a couple weeks back where we showed you the phone app and let you use it. And you're pointing to what seems to make sense. It's really intuitive in that you want to add a card, you're pressing the plus sign. Very, very simple to use. We're definitely, though, going to be training on day one at the end of the installation point. But John, myself, we're available to come back afterwards. A lot of times, the system will go in, you've been trained, maybe 2 or 3 people are trained, a couple months goes by, haven't had to replace any cards, oh, what do I do again? You can't figure that out, you know. We can come back in and refresh that if need be. I think you
So-
see.
You know,
Is there a package? Like, do we know how many, is there a limit on how many visits you can come back for training?
so.
Well,
to
Like,
that
what's our
point,
user support? Yeah, what's the
Right.
support?
You know, we can come back, myself, I can come back, kind of initially show you what's going on. Cantech has also come up with that, because we realize we're giving up you a lot of information, a lot of power that you may not be able to process in that 2-hour time span that we're going to be back there. They have what they call Cantech University. These are online training modules that 20% of the system you're going to be using about 80% of the time. They're going to show you how to create a schedule and do that into an access
And
lesson.
that's free? That's included?
That can be included, yes.
It
So-
can be included, or is it's included?
It's included.
Okay.
So you can do it at your leisure if there's a scheduling conflict and either John or I can get there. You can just go online and it will show you step by step how to add a card or delete a card. That,
So you two are direct.
Well, I work directly for Tyco. John supports us from a manufacturer's perspective, but he's, you know, he's local. I mean, we go back at the sites where we need.
yeah, and so to that respect, I work for a company called Intelligent Marketing. We are the rep firm for Cantech throughout the East Coast. So there's from Maine to Florida, about 20 or so guys in the company, 3 within the New York territory, New York, New Jersey territory. So if I can't make it, I'm going to call them back. So there's really no reason why a scheduling conflict would happen.
And for example, we had a surprise when we did our initial demonstration for Mrs. Key. One of our direct factory people, Danielle Ebner, who did the initial training. Tonight was the only night she had a Broadway ticket. And we sat there looking at the schedule. Oh, you got a Broadway ticket? Well, John's available. If he's not available, she's available. There's just support at every level. So.
I had a question from before. I don't know if we're going to revisit looking up videos or things like that, because I know that you touched on being able to look up a video that's connected to some type of an event, as you called it, and the event is connected to when someone swipes a card or not, or whatever, or access is denied. What about the times when there is no card swiping?
Sure. So that
Can you
is actually-
search, like-
That would be from, yeah. There's a couple different ways to do that. If you know what time and date that happened, you can come here. You can say, I want to pick this camera, you know, or I want to watch ESPN. It's one of my favorite cameras. I want to know the East Hall, and I want to know the hours between, 1:30 and 1:45.
Okay, so it's like an easy search engine.
Yeah.
thing.
Yep. And then if you need to do a little bit more advanced searching, you can go directly to the video server itself, and that would take you through the steps to search multiple cameras or things like that. So yeah, it's not just event-driven, it's motion-driven or just constant, continuous reporting.
Yeah, and like you said, motion driven. Very quickly, we get caught up in the world where we're talking about this every day, like you know what we're talking about. Motion driven in here would be if we had a camera in here, how many days a week is there nobody in here? There's no motion, right? The camera's not a motion sensor. What it's sensing is sensing the change in pixels or the change in light. So interior, it's actually a very effective tool to manage that. So I came in here, I broke in on the weekend. If you went to go to search, you're only going to see so much video from that weekend because nothing happened in here until I broke the door in.
Right.
So you're going to find it very easily and very quickly. Right. Exterior-wise, the motion's tough because it snows. If it rains, there's motion. The sun changes, everything's motion. So you can set things to motion outside if you have a real fixed scenario, but it's gonna trigger motion quite often. So then, what we talked about is an advantage of the access where you go to event-driven scenarios. Now you're back to just maybe saying it happened this weekend.
Right.
Now you're sitting in front of it and you're putting it through fast forward until you see that car come in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Or whatever happened. So it's motion driven, but it's really just a change in whatever's in front of the camera. So in here, we turn the lights off, we leave for a day. There's no motion, the camera's not recording. When there's motion, it starts to record.
Do you guys have any other questions on this? Because I'm actually going to switch to the web browser real quick. Is there anything that you wanted to see in terms of access control? Again, we open the doors, we close the doors, so there's no limitations there. To just talk quickly about the mobile app, to take it a step back, we have our web station. So what this allows you to do is from any computer, now that's Mac, PC, you have the ability to log into the system. So let's say you're not at a workstation where you loaded the software from Cantech in the building, but you have access to one of the computers on the network that could hit the server. We give you the ability to log in and do what you would, I guess, 80% of the time, or the 20% you're going to use 80% of the time is here. So you have the ability to do card management. You have the ability to add and delete cards, create schedules, access levels, things like that. So on the fly, if you have to add a card or take away a card, probably more likely, you can do it from here. So one of the things that I want to stress is, you're seeing that I'm using Internet Explorer. It's not limited to Internet Explorer. It's Internet Explorer, it's Safari, it's Mozilla, so it's PC and it's Mac. So whether you guys have PCs or you have Macs, the web browser will work for either one of them. So again, all of your doors that you have on the system, because I'm not plugged in, we don't have them, you have the ability to lock and unlock your doors. So you don't necessarily have to wake up, drive to the building, unlock the door. And again, all these functions that you're seeing here on the web browser, you can do on your phone. So there's no limitation. The only reason why you wouldn't be able to do any of these things is lack of network connectivity or no cell reception. So that's just a real quick look into the web browser. Are there any other questions? I don't want to be holding anybody up. Dinner time for some people. No? Is that? Okay.
Yeah, and so just to tie it together, we could get into so much detail that it'll bore you to tears, as I like to say, but I think that's what Mrs. Key was looking for, trying to do a much better job than what's happening now with the access and controlling things and being able to see what happened. And, with the cameras in place, you're able to, there's a little bit of a preventative measure too. It's not going to stop everything, but it's certainly a preventative measure that's not there now. So there's a lot that gets gained with these systems. And the fact that we've chosen to spend so much time digging into what we really need versus maybe what we don't need yet is a credit to Mrs. Key at this point. So again, if you have any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
Appreciate it.
In those packets, you guys have all had a chance to thumb through. I've left copies of all the proposals, some information that you've got it covered here already with us. There's a lot of information in there. So you guys have my cell phone number on that card. If there's any questions, you can reach out to me. And we can go from there.
Sure.
You're the interpreter of the bylaws, keeper of the bylaws.
Yeah. Right now, we don't. All action items that we have on tonight's agenda, we can't go through them because we don't have a quorum right now.
Oh, it's only 3 of us.
It's 4 of us actually.
Oh, 3?
Yeah.
That's fine.
4. Quorum, we have to have 5 or more to do making action items. But we're still going to go down the agenda. We've touched on some of the things, but like I said, we can't do action.
Right.
The report from the library director.
Okay, my report is pretty self-explanatory. The thing that I just want to highlight is one of the things that we're trying to do, and we had class visits, a lot of kids coming in here from the schools. We're very interested in getting into the schools, and Miss Barbara Richco, who's our children's librarian, she really, the school buses pull up twice a week, and so that's a good thing. I know, Mr. Delgado, you're always very interested in what is happening in the teen department, and it is upon us. They're doing SAT, the youth department from the city. All the SAT Tutoring classes will be held in our computer lab, and Mr. Johnson, who is our team librarian, and Mr. Johnson, who is Office of Youth Services, that gets confusing, but Johnson and Johnson, they are working very closely together, so in the new year, I think you're going to be very happy to see that collaboration moving forward. As far as staff development is concerned, Mr. Lopez, who is our IT person, he attended an all-day workshop at Horizons. I don't know if you know Horizons in Woodbridge, but it's a place where you can go for continuing education that relates to technology. So he was there all day about a week ago. I tell you, one of the best attended programs we've had in a while was Chocolates for the Holidays. People came in and talked about chocolates, gave samples, and we really had a fantastic attendance. The other thing, Terrence C. Riley Middle School Choir, dance.
Excellent middle school.
What happened?
Excellent liking.
And now, Terrence, you're familiar with Terrence C. Riley Middle School, their choir, dance ensemble, and ballet. They came here and did a noontime concert, and this is the second time they have done it. And they were excellent, enthusiastic, and the teachers are happy. I think the teacher was happy to take them to an outside venue where, you know, they can really see people, not other students, but people really appreciate what they do. And so we were happy about that. So that's basically what I have to say. Some of the upcoming programs, one of the ones that I do want to point out to you, because I probably need to go there myself, exercise for stress management. We have a representative of the Kessler Rehabilitation Center coming in to do that. And for African American Black History Month, we have a program on the Underground Railroad. And for women, do you know, I don't have the particulars. Mr. Alvarez is working on that in the adult department. And we also have for Women's History Month, it's not on here because we're just still making arrangements, but we have someone from the New Jersey Horizons Speakers Bureau. And they come out for a nominal fee, but we have someone to come out and talk, to do a women's history program. So they're working on that. So that's my report.
So we'll have dates for these eventually, right?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, there'll be in your newsletter that you're going to get at the end of the month. All the dates, the times, and remember, if you misplace your newsletter or it doesn't come, the newsletter is always online. Every newsletter we've ever done is online.
Actually, like the Facebook page.
You get all that, it pops
I'll
up.
send you everything. Like if you like the library's Facebook page, it'll come. It comes.
And our friends are well. A lot of people.
I see my whole list and
So you're one. You're there. You're one. Yeah. So okay, that's it for me.
Okay, reading of communications.
None.
We don't have to go on finished business. We already done that, right?
We've done the old business and new business.
So that's all taken care of. Okay, comments from the public?
It's open to the general public.
Yes.
I see how many members of the general public are occupying the seats in this library. Amendments to the Constitution of the United States. Amendment 2, ratified December 15, 1791. A well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Amendment 1 to the Constitution of the United States. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Established religion.
Do you have anything relevant to the board members?
Yes, we follow the Constitution, amending the Constitution, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. There's another part, I don't know if anyone cares about it. Section 9, the migration or importation of such persons as any of the states now existing shall think proper to admit shall not be prohibited by the Congress prior to the year 1808, but tax or duty may impose on such importation not exceeding $10 for each person. That's when they imported slave in 1808. This is the Constitution of the United States, which New Jersey at present is one of the states of the United States.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We close session, we make a motion.
Motion to enter into closed session.
Okay.
Second.
Ms. Alvaro?
Yes.
Mr. Delgado?
Yes.
Mrs. Dix? Mr. Whitman?
Yes.